Weird. Oh, you can't hear.
No, I heard it. You see the boots that Jazz was wearing yesterday?
I did not.
Mama, we'll talk about that in the fashion segment. Welcome to Balance Sports, a show at the cross-section of women's basketball and a gay time.
This is what happens when two best friends catch up twice a week to talk hoops in front of a green screen.
From interviews with legends to blunders on camera, covering Coach's game plan and also her wardrobe.
We're here to grow the game and have a good time.
This is Balance Sports.
I appreciate y'all. This is Breanna January.
I'm Jewell Loyd.
I'm Breanna Stewart.
This is Ezi, and you're watching Balance Sports.
Welcome back to Balance Sports. I'm Jewelz.
I'm Hunter.
And that was the finals, the WNBA Finals 2022. The Aces came out on top.
They did it, Joe. First of all, what a season. I was a mixture of emotions yesterday when it ended. I was just like, oh no, what am I going to watch now? But the Aces just crushed it. It felt like they were always going to win this year somehow.
Yeah, I think you said it felt destined.
Destined, the team of destiny.
Yeah, great win, great game. I am so happy for the Aces. I don't know why I felt oddly emotional. I think it's just how much I like Asia, and I was just rooting for her. I will say, at the half, the third, I was like, Connecticut's in that striking distance that they like to be. I was like, oh shit, it's gonna go to 5. I was not. My faith wavered. It absolutely did. I wanted and called and all of that stuff, Aces, but in the third, I was like, they are right where they want to be. Within striking distance, 2 possessions, 1 possession. It was a good game.
I totally agree. Once Jonquel Jones got going in the second half, there was I feel like 2 possessions, maybe 3 in a row that she came down, hit a step back 3 that was nasty with it. And then and I feel like got an and 1. And I was like, same thing. They're too much in striking distance. DeWanna Bonner is going to start screaming. They're going to get picked up. Just the energy of it. It felt like, oh, we're for sure going 5. And then Raquana Williams
said, no, we're done.
It ends today. It ends here.
There was a couple of, I think Jonquel Jones had some blocks against Asia that was just like, okay,
we're really playing today.
Yeah, it was a very, very good game. Alyssa Thomas with another back-to-back triple-double.
First ever WNBA back-to-back triple-doubles. And to do it when your season's on the line, in the playoffs, in the finals, was... I gained a mad appreciation for her in these playoffs. Yes. I feel like Alyssa Thomas, to me, has just always been a player that I'm like, defense. Mm-hmm. And their offense comes, but
she said, I do it all.
Yeah, I will say I just didn't respect her game the way that watching these playoffs and being like, she is not just the facilitator and getting the rebounds. I love how she knows where to shoot her shot and she makes it happen. I really love her game, and she has got to be on our USA team after this. Agree or disagree?
I disagree.
Alyssa Thomas?
I am going to disagree. Only, I think of an Olympic team as kind of a younger team, and I think that she's bringing a little bit more veteran leadership than we need.
How old is she?
I don't know off the top of my head. I'm gonna say 32.
Okay,
cool. How old is Alyssa Thomas?
Alyssa Thomas is 30 years old.
Okay, but okay, so
she'd be 32 by the next Olympics.
I
do see what you're talking about there, getting a younger wave of players. I could see it or I couldn't. That'll be interesting to see who does go to join Team USA from these finals. Kurt Miller, in the post-game press conference, talked about, we're going to deal with this for 24 hours. I think the exact question was, someone says, how are you going to piece this team together next year? What's this team going to look like?
To make sure that, you are successful. You can get back here and be successful.
He goes, our season just ended 20 minutes ago. I have less than 48 hours to think about this, pack my bags, get on a plane to Australia. And
represent yo ass in the World Cup.
And so I'm reading this. You were on the Zoom. What was the energy of it?
It was very look what I have to do. Then I'll deal with that when we get back. Yeah.
Reading these back, I'm like, you know what? These are not bad players for me. You do have to ask that. And so I get the push and pull of it. This team's season did just end. Everyone clearly knows that you have a lot of players at Connecticut whose contracts were up. So how are you going to get it past the hump last year? I'm not mad at the question being asked. I'm also not mad at him for being like, it just ended. I'll think about that in a couple weeks.
Mad? No, I don't think it was a bad question. I just also think to me, it's a little bit of the heart. Have a heart, man. It's also is anyone prepared to answer that question? It's like, oh, well, yeah, we're going to ship JJ out. That's not going to work for us. Like, no, you're not. It's just not the time. And I feel like that's more of an exit interview question.
Which happens probably today or tomorrow.
Right? Which I'm like, you're also going to get a similar answer, but yeah. He also gave a really great quote before the game. Did you happen to hear or read the transcript for that?
No.
Do you stop and think about like what this moment means?
I did hear this part.
Okay, it was Connecticut Sun, has a lot of diversity. They're Native American.
You're playing on tribal land. You're playing with a lot of female executives, people of color.
Yes. I didn't let her answer. It was very, it wasn't a bad answer. It just wasn't, it didn't embrace it. It didn't embrace the question. And so her answers was like, I like to surround myself with diversity, basically, and like why that's so positive. It was like a kid one of like, you can make a better picture with a box of crayons and a pencil.
Than a pencil.
But
Yeah, the line she said actually right before that was really good too. I thought it was like, why would I surround myself with people who think the same ideas, who look like me? Like that's not going to help me become a different person or grow any better.
Absolutely. Kurt's response was the full-throated like, yes, I love this, and like
it's important to us.
Yes, and it's important, and recognizing that like I'm a gay man. And I shouldn't be the only one, the only openly gay man. Like we belong in sports too. And I really liked his response and I appreciated it.
I appreciate it too. I don't know who asked that question, but I thought it was a really great question to ask during the finals like this. And when you have two teams, not every team can say that they're led by
queer folks.
Diverse hires. Yeah, queer, like diverse in any form or setting. I like that Kurt really said it with his chest. I like that both these organizations kind of lead by that. Nikki Fargas is one of the owners and posted a photo, and I didn't do the research before to see like was this someone in her family, right? But it was a young black girl holding the trophy, and she was like, show her how to do it so she can become this. And
Absolutely.
I was like, she's a black president of a WNBA organization. I would probably argue that we haven't had a ton of those in the entire WNBA, although the league is run by women of color. Right. So just, I think the examples that were set, having Asia, Chelsea, not that anyone from Connecticut also isn't a great ambassador, but I just feel like the Aces are wonderful leaders of maybe like a new wave generation of the WNBA. They're so fun. Gosh, I want to talk about all their post game.
Oh my gosh, shenanigans.
Yeah, that's the best way to describe it.
The last thing I'll say is I just really appreciate. I want to celebrate when a white man speaks to these kind of things. Like it's really important. For other white people to see, oh, this is how you talk about race. This is how you talk about inclusivity when you're not used to doing it. So I just really loved the question. Appreciated the answers. So let's get into the fun.
Okay. Well, before we talk about this, we have to take 4 shots of tequila per A'ja Wilson's request.
We out here.
Just a little bit about the game. So, do you feel like this was anyone's best game of the finals?
Off the top of my head, not looking at any of the numbers, I'm gonna say no. It was no one's like. Even the triple-double, I'm going to guess that like Alyssa Thomas's numbers were better the night before.
Yeah, and I thought Rebecca and Ryan both said actually in this game, you can tell that there's a lot on the line. Like teams seemed a little bit more tense or like it also seemed very apparent to me. Fatigued with just the chess match that was going on. Yeah, the fatigue had set in. I thought it was so fascinating in the fourth quarter, right? When it was like, this is the season right here. When the Sun went with essentially a 5 big lineup and the Aces went with 5 guards. I was like, this is wild. It's going to be like, whose team is better in this moment to close out the game? And Breanna Williams said, it's me, it's us, it's now, it's the Aces.
It's always been me.
Oh, that was incredible. She was just on fire. 5 for 9 from threes. She had 17 points. She was the entire bench production for the Aces. We've said this the entire playoffs, and I think why they're such a dangerous team, right? Chelsea had a solid game. A'ja had a solid game. It's Breanna Williams who won the championship for just wild the depth that they've had.
And here we were doubting the bench.
Down the bench.
Breanna said, hold my beer.
I'm good. Chelsea Gray was the finals MVP. She had 20 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists.
Solid performance. I understand why people think A'ja is equally deserving. But for me, it was always Chelsea.
I think if A'ja would have had a couple more points in this game, she would have got it over Chelsea.
She's like, I took all the other ones. Yeah, you were definitely the MVP of this game, this series, and what she had the Commissioner's Cup too.
Did you see the graphic that just talked about all that the Aces did this year? Commissioner's Cup. Obviously, someone from that team had to win Commissioner's Cup MVP. You've got the MVP of the season, the defensive MVP,
Coach of the Year, Most Improved Player. Like,
every accolade.
It would have been a tragedy if they didn't. Like, I'm sorry. Like, are you kidding me? They were clearly built for this. Like,
built for this, and they're going to be running it back. They've kind of have everybody signed.
So somebody asked that to Chelsea, like, hey, I'm not going to say dynasty, and Asia had said, like, I'm not going to do the LeBron where I'm saying how many numbers, but, we're going to be back here. Chelsea was like, we will talk about that, after the parade. Let's enjoy this. Let's talk about it later. Asia was like, let's talk about it next season. But Chelsea is the one who purposefully, and I think we talked about this before, but she signed a 1-year contract so that she would be ready for that Supermax money.
I love that she was like, we'll talk about it later. I kind of just won the MVP and I'm going to get my bags.
Yeah.
It's like understood, obviously, that she would love to return to Vegas. She's proven herself now. She's won 2 championships with 2 different teams.
Yeah.
Again, this team is stacked, but she was the MVP. She put this team on her back at times. Literally, I am so grateful we've had this performance from her from the playoffs, because there's still shots that you're like, you could put anyone on her and she's making that. It just
full. This is.
Oh my God. There was a possession. DeWanna Bonner was like, you're not scoring. She was doing this. It didn't matter.
I don't care. I don't care.
I looked at our roommates and I was like, it's embarrassing. Because DeWanna Bonner did this clapping thing, then puts her hand up there.
I am playing defense.
The moment she crosses half court, it's like, you're not doing this. She did one step back. DeWanna's hands went down. She's like, yeah. Oh, it was sick. It was so good.
Oh, man.
It felt like everyone had a moment in the fourth quarter. Like Kelsey had that play that kind of, it felt like cemented it, where she drove on Courtney Williams, pump faked, and then made it. Jackie had a really quiet game, but I thought super effective, and just all the other things she was doing. Also, Jackie, she had 8 assists this game.
Yeah.
It was just really, really well-rounded, and their bench is also the most entertaining.
Absolutely. Connecticut. Solid performance.
Fantastic season.
Like, they truly fought for this.
Yeah.
And at times seems like they were gonna get it. Let's start with Courtney Williams. What were her numbers?
She was 7 of 18 for 17 points with 6 rebounds and 1 assist. She shot 66%.
I feel like she had some big moments that was like helping to really shift things for them.
Definitely. She felt like the one that was like, I mean, she took 18 shots and the next player took 11.
Right.
So I kept thinking she's going to provide the offense tonight. Kurt Miller said after the game, I just love the energy that she brings to our team. Just talked about how she was going so well that night. The number that sticks out to me is honestly, Courtney Williams shot 18 times, and they really needed every one of those. Jonquel Jones shot 8 times. She's an MVP. She was 5 for 8. I just feel like they had to get her the ball more.
Yeah, she needed, I mean, I wasn't on the court. I don't know if she was calling as much as she needed to be, but she definitely needed the ball in her hands a bit more. And there was, maybe early in the 4th or late in the 3rd, she wasn't on the court as much. Like, that's not the lineup they were going with. And that's kind of questionable if that was the right decision or not. I mean, you have former MVP sitting right there.
Yeah, Jonquel Jones had 13 points, 8 rebounds. I'm with you. It felt like at times, you know how we talk about Stewie just lets a game come naturally, and then you'll look up in the second half and be like, whoa, she has 25 points, right? I feel like Jonquel Jones lets it come a little too natural. Like, there was just
go get it, baby. Go get it a little bit.
Really serious. In the fourth quarter, I was like, this is the MVP. I'd be running everything through her, and I didn't feel like they were just giving the opportunity. Kurt Miller talked about earlier in this postseason. It's really everyone knows what we're trying to do. Get Jonquel the bones. Get
the bones.
Get Jonquel Jones the ball. And I said, well, you should try harder. She needed the ball way more, in my opinion.
Yeah. It was a really nice moment in the press conference afterwards with Courtney Williams, where she was talking about people doubting her, and last year, all of her, adversity, and that she didn't think she would be playing. Some people, and then kind of looked at the media, was like, some of y'all didn't think I'd be here as well. And so I'm just so happy to be here in this moment. And it was really nice, but it was also this moment where I'm like, I don't know if you can be that happy right after y'all lost. Like, it was a little too like me focused instead of like we.
It's giving Tina the point of this happy season was me leaving Phoenix energy. when that happened and she was in Atlanta and all that adversity was hitting, I don't know where she was, but she was on that team at the time. She said, these were the people that I called. I called JJ, I called Alyssa, and they were the ones that had my back. And this team talked a lot about, or they were asked a decent amount all throughout, how are y'all going to look next year? It'll be really fascinating to see who gets brought back and how because they've been right there, right? They've been 2 of the last 4 finals and they haven't been able to get over the hump.
The Candace stoppers of it all.
They can hang that banner up. DeWanna Bonner had a 12-point game. She was 4 of 11. I feel like talk about fatigue. They were all fatigued, but it felt like she was beaten up in this game.
Yeah, she was really gassed. I think if she had, obviously a couple people have a little bit more, but she's just such a force for them. They fell short. Like it's easy to understand why they fell short when they were going against the Aces.
The team of destiny, and it's totally built different. I wonder if the Sun look at this and say the style of ball we play maybe isn't going to win us a title. Like it'll get us close.
The end result is that this isn't enough.
The end result is that the Las Vegas Aces played a lineup with about 4 girls out there 5'9" or below. We played a lineup 4 girls out there 6'5" or above.
The complete opposite.
And they ran away with it in the fourth quarter. Yeah. So we need more shooters.
Bree Jones is another person who's gonna get paid, deserves Supermax money. They can't afford to have this exact same lineup, so they're in a very similar predicament as the Aces.
Absolutely agree. All the stats of this look very similar. Like points in the paint are really close second chance points. There was nothing that stood out, and that's kind of the story of this
entire. Williams.
Except for Breanna Williams. That felt like the story of this entire. Besides the absolute blowout game.
Yeah.
It felt like all these games were that close. The Aces just did the little things that they needed to. And I actually rereading, Chelsea Gray said that after losing last year, it wasn't when you looked over the games, it wasn't a huge thing that stood out. It was in these small moments, the turnover that mattered, how we approached a scheme. They changed it, adjusted it, and they won that thing.
Chelsea leaving. I mean, people love to talk about Breanna Stewart leaving. Let's talk about Chelsea going to leave. Because
Jonquil. Everyone's leaving.
Everyone's leaving. The only place I see her going is back to Los Angeles. Like, she's made that really clear that, like, she wants to be close to home. Phoenix, possibly. That's not that far. And then way up here. If I was a betting woman, I'd say back to Los Angeles. What about you?
If I had to really put money on it, I would say stay in Vegas. But that's before I really understand what their cap space is like, right? And I think she deserves all the money, like to be that Supermax player.
Sure.
Obviously, I think Asia already has that designation there, so I just don't know the contracts that they signed with Kelsey, Derica, and Jackie this year.
I think she should absolutely stay, but if they can't afford her, then where's she going to go?
Yeah, I like Los Angeles for her because she's been very vocal about that. Seattle is going to have a ton of space. Like it's on the West Coast, right? A little bit more north than maybe what she was anticipating. We've got that's saying the only 2 players we know right now are coming back are Jewell and Ezi. So there's a ton of space, and we need a point guard.
We definitely need a point guard.
But I think it looks drastically different depending on what Stewie decides to do.
What about Connecticut?
I'm going to use the term blowing up, right? Like when they say this team, they blow up this team, a big change is going to happen. Like Bria, I don't see any way you bring back these 4 bigs. Jonquil Jones, Bree Jones, Alyssa Thomas, DeWanna Bonner, right? All really great players, but it's seemed proven that you need a little bit more guard play. And I don't know. Yeah, that to me is where the GM stuff of money and who fits where. Are you keeping Kurt Miller as the coach? Because a lot of people have talked about that changing. I could see a big adjustment for Connecticut soon, which sucks because they've been so close, and you hate when a team like is right there and they just can't push past. I want so many of these players to win a title.
Do you think DeWanna Bonner and Alyssa Thomas are a package deal, as they are a couple? Are they gonna Vandersloot and Quigley it up? We ride together?
I kind of think so, and that's why. And you got to think Jazz Thomas and Natisha Heidemann. I don't know if they want to be a package deal either, but they are a package. That's a very cute package. The clothes of this package. Oh, that's my package. Sorry, I really love their outfit. Did you see the boots that Jazz was wearing yesterday?
I did not.
Mama, we'll talk about that in the fashion segment. I could see Jonquil or Bree Jones going because I think they will require a lot of money. I don't, again, know what's on the books there. They would probably keep one of them, and then they're going to have to go get somebody that can shoot some threes. Jazz will do that when she comes back.
I'm sorry. I just
Drag me.
no. It's not you. I am like laughing in my head at how uniquely like gay women it is that like. Is it really a consideration for the GM of like who is she dating? Like, do I have like that is a thing? Or you're
Like we wanted to move Dawana, but she's dating Alyssa, and we love her. I'm sure that's not happening, right?
So they don't care. Like as a GM, they like that. I don't need you. I only need you. But like the other side, the athlete is like, well,
It totally strains your relationship,
right? It's like
it would make me mad at the GM if they moved my girlfriend, spouse, partner, whatever you want to call them, to another team. I'd be real pissed, to be honest.
It's just kind of funny.
I'd be like, I get it. I'm the better basketball player, so move Dawana. No, I'm not saying that. I'd be like, this is my boo.
Right.
Dawana, did you read my story that I put? Dawana got me out of bed when I had my knee surgery. She got to stay here. I would be pulling out all the receipts. But look at when Dawana's on court, how much better I play.
Or you're just like, okay, well, can she get signed in New York? So it's like close. You know what I mean? Like, is that like a thing that they try and then orchestrate where it's like proximity isn't an issue, as big an issue?
Let me say it this way. If you put my ass in Uncasville, I need my boo with me. New York ain't that close. It's still a hella train ride or bus.
Oh, God.
Okay, I really enjoyed the moment where Kelsey Plum got up into Tisha Heideman's. To me, it was just like, you know, it's unnecessary. I think Kelsey talks about how she is feisty anyways.
Yes.
It was just like, this is playoff basketball. We talked about the first half being ugly, but there's moments where you're like, but they're fighting for it. And they may not be making the baskets, but they're really doing it. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe the statistic was that the Suns scored the fewest points in a half in WNBA playoff history. And this was after they set the record for the most. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that I was like, that stat can't be right. Because the last game they set so many offensive records.
Yeah.
That's hot and you're cold. Is there anything you would like to talk about just in the post-game celebrations or what was maybe uploaded to the social medias?
Just flowers to Sydney Colson, who brought us along. Honestly, I was in the Zoom, and then on my phone, I was in the room. I was in the real room where they're popping the champagne. She brought us on the plane. Like, she was having lots of fun. I really appreciated that. I think the press conference in general was just very fun the second the Aces players got there, because they arrived with no shirts on. And then like shortly after that, Kelsey comes in with this boom box, and you could tell via social media that she had been walking around with that boom box trying to find her teammates. It was very, very funny.
I saw Asia tweet after the game, Instagram, please take live away from Sydney Colson. They were really fun. I saw a lot of the videos of them taking the photos with the champagne, with the trophy. I saw Asia talking about how everyone at the parade needs to show up with a minimum 4 shots in you.
Kids have ginger ale. It was too funny.
Yeah, and it was just, I love those moments afterwards, even though it happens in Connecticut, right? Just like them embracing their loved ones on the court, them like going to see the people. It was really great. I'm just so proud, happy, excited for Becky, someone who was asked a lot in a lot of the media things about not getting the chances in the NBA, or people
doubting her. Yeah, not picking her. Yeah.
People doubting her and not picking her, and how, I mean, she just first season thrived. She brought this team to a different level. The players specifically did it in her way, and just like rad of her to do this. And first time ever that a WNBA coach has won it in their first year. So
proud and happy for her. Absolutely. I remember getting my first opportunity to coach, and I'm gonna tell you, I dreamed. Like, immediately, I was like, we're gonna have an undefeated season. We're gonna go win the national champ. Like, because it's only in your first season that it can be the first, all of these first. And so we don't need to reveal the numbers of it all. But most first time coaches, I don't think have this level of success.
Becky, this is
really exceptional. But I think everyone kind of dreams of that immediate success, and I'm so happy that she did get it. Like, oh yes, dream it, achieve it, like set the bar so high. I'm so happy for her.
So happy. I love when they kind of peel a little bit back behind, show you behind the curtains, right? So we know Becky, obviously, to be a great coach, but somebody asked her, when you saw this team, what made you think? And she was like, I really did watch a lot of film before coming here. I was looking at the systems, but I also just, my mind is constantly thinking, how could this look different? And I told them at the beginning of the season, we're going to run some of this 4-guard lineup, and it's going to be hard because y'all are going to go against huge players that are gritty, but I think it'll lead us to success. And she was like, and you saw that a lot in the NBA, so I was excited to bring it here.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I've got goosebumps talking about it. I just thought it was so cool how in that fourth quarter, then it was like they hadn't played that lineup against the Sun the entire finals.
Right.
And they did it to cement it. Breanna Williams stepped up. I mean, it requires these players to hit those big shots.
Absolutely.
And they did. I think it just talks about the faith she has in her team. I'm so happy. I don't want, in my mind, I'm like, do these NBA players, teams now, see her success? They should have seen it already. She's won at literally every level and tried to take her away. And I want her to stay in the WNBA.
I think she'll
will.
stay. I don't think at all, honestly. I think that they're like, oh, that's great for her. Can't do it with us. Like, I don't think they're even thinking about her. I think that she will continue to build a great legacy here in the W, and I think she wants to do that. They had their opportunity to get her, now you missed it. So
Boom. Bye.
Yeah. She's what's us. We're keeping her. There were moments watching it, I just kept looking at Kirsten Bell, and I was just like, man, you're a champion. Your first year in the W. KB was on my team, so she's special for me.
So she was
as
on
the
your
draft.
draft.
She was on my draft, fashion draft, y'all remember. And so she's very special to me. But Shepherd was also there. The idea of like such a different experience than like Indiana, right? Like all your other rookie friends and playoff experience. Like, yes, it's just such an interest. Like, I just can't wait to see how their careers like unfold, you know, because these other players have a lot more experience just playing because they were in games more than she was. But she did have, like, she got in these games and you're around this environment. And yeah, I'm excited to look ahead, 7 years and see like how many championships each of them have.
I'm so with you because, yeah, I mean, it's hard enough to win a WNBA title. Like Alyssa Thomas, Jonquel Jones, these are players that have tenure in the league, that have had amazing careers, and they've yet to get that, right?
Yeah.
I love for these rookies who are coming in, and we'll have plenty of time to learn now, that they can say and add this accolade to my name. Cool, I'm a WNBA champion. Mm-hmm. You will not take this away from me. And yeah, you hit the nail on the head. You could have a great season and have played a ton of games, received a lot of individual accolades like NaLyssa Smith, mm-hmm. or you could be on a team, like a really great team, and probably learning and sitting in waiting. Just what a cool experience.
Yeah. All right, so that's it for this episode. Thanks for watching. We will continue to cover women's hoops. So we're going to get into some college stuff. We're going to follow Euro. We're going to hop in and see what's going on with FIBA World Cup.
Absolutely. Keep up with everybody. We don't know exactly what it's going to look like, right?
Figure it out.
Super excited to continue the coverage for women's basketball. Really appreciate you guys rocking with us, all the new subscribers, commenters. It has been so fun. Our purpose of this is to have a really fun, awesome space to talk about women's sports with lots of opinions, lots of ideas. So appreciate you guys interacting with us.
Mm-hmm. For Balance Sports, I'm Jewelz.
I'm Hunter. What do you call it when there's no truth behind any of it? I'm just
fiction.
Like, watch. Okay, great.
Yeah.
I'm just watching the game like, who else could be dating out there?